Hello, welcome to tonight's episode of the Group Therapy Podcast. Brandon is missing tonight, so taking his place is my lovely wife, Tina.
Hi.
Hello.
Brandon is sleeping tonight,
He's sleeping, yes. I should be asleep too.
I'm surprised you're not sleeping.
I am going to crash probably hard in about an hour, and then I'll be up in, I don't know what time it is. It's only 11 o'clock, so I'll crash and then I'll be wide awake in like an hour. Probably. So I got to make sure I'm good and tired and out. I got like an hour and a half, 2 hours sleep last night because I could not sleep for nothing. But, all right.
I slept pretty good.
Yeah. The worst part about it is that by the time I come down here, I got the dog outside and everything, and I was good and asleep, and Vince come down here and woke me up.
Of course he did.
I was like, after everything, and I still got up only about 20 minutes later than I would normally wake up. So, all right, tonight we're going to talk about just stuff and things and whatnot, and I'm going to try not to hit the table again. We're going to talk about growing up back in the 80s and loving what we love and
you know, we're only 2.5 years apart, and there's like such a generational gap.
Oh yeah, I know.
It's weird.
Well, it's like
because there's a lot of stuff that you talk about that I have like no memory of.
Well, it's funny because I've talked with this about this to Bill, and as you get younger, the gap gets wider. But what's funny is Bill and I have a bigger gap between me and Bill than you and I.
Well, it's weird, the difference between 76 and 74.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not that big of a difference.
No. Because, I mean, by the time 77 came out, I was 3 years old, and then Star Wars came, and then everything
I was born at the end of 76.
Yeah.
But...
yeah, you were just months old by the time Star Wars came out, and I was a little kid like, yay, this is the greatest thing ever.
I mean, that's probably why I liked the Ewoks, because I was a little girl. You know.
Okay, I'm literally sitting down the other day and watching the VHS tape of the Ewoks. Was it Caravan of Courage? The made-for-TV Ewoks movie. People give the Ewoks so much shit. And in 1983, I was 9 years old, and I liked the Ewoks.
I did too, but I was a little girl.
But I also liked But I liked the cartoon. No, I didn't. Well, I didn't much care for the cartoon, I should say. I liked the Ewoks in Return of the Jedi. I liked the Caravan of Courage and the Ewoks Adventures. Those were fine. I enjoyed both of those. Cartoon, I wasn't a big fan of. So,
the dog decided she needed to come over and get petted.
So, but no, and it's funny because I never paid attention before, but MGM UA is the one who released the Ewoks. So,
you know what UA means to me? Urine analysis.
I'm United Artists because I'm a movie guy.
Yeah, I work in the medical field, so.
But I never paid attention. I always thought it was Fox because Fox is the one that produced the Star Wars movies. So I was like, it's got to be. And then I was like, that's not at all what that safe says. I got to break down and actually get those on DVD, or hopefully they'll be out on Blu-ray. Watch the Ewoks movies. So.
Because you have to own everything. Oh, it's not that loud. He's fine.
Yeah. Well, like I said before, as soon as you don't own something, it disappears. And then it's gone.
I was going to buy a movie on digital, and I had to stop myself because it was like, you're going to buy it on DVD or Blu-ray anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Even though we've got Scoob, Bill and Ted, you're still going to buy those. Yeah, even though I own them digital versions.
Well, okay, Scoob came through the shop. So I do own Scoob. Mm-hmm. but I got it because there's
It's
no
for the special
features. I'm a movie guy, so I love me some special features. I especially love commentary tracks, stuff like that. That's so much fun. I mean, we all want to get together one of these days, Bill and Brandon, even Joe, because Joe might actually set in on this one. We want to do a commentary track to a movie
That'd be fun.
that we love. The only thing is you'll have to sync it up because we can't show the movie because, copyright laws and the whatnot. And
You have to be very, very careful with that.
oh, don't get me wrong. There's a shit ton of movies that I have on the shelf behind me that is public domain that I could totally do that too. But then again, I'm probably the only person who's ever watched that movie that would be wanting to watch it that night. That's what you gotta love about those 10 packs, 50 packs, 100 packs of movies. All that shit's public domain. So
That's why they get released over and over and over.
Oh yeah. That's anytime you go the horror hosts and stuff like that, they show that. That's why they allow them to show the same stuff over and over and over again. Only the big name people like Svengoolie, he shows the Frankenstein movies and stuff like that, and he shows like the bigger budget because he's got money behind him and they can pay for it. But now you look at these other smaller ones and they will show. Of course, everybody shows Night of the Living Dead. Everybody shows The Haunted Castle. Everybody shows Nosferatu. Everybody shows because those are all public domain, and you can do with them as you will. The only thing is if there's any the produced by whatever, you got to cut that off, and just show the movie and not the the beginning or the end. Well, you can show the credits, but you can't show if. Mill Creek released a box set, you can't have the Mill Creek logo. The movie's not copyrighted, but the Mill Creek logo is totally copyrighted. Except for I think the one is it's not even Mill Creek. I got stuff that's before it was Mill Creek when it was Echo Bridge or some shit like that. Because I've got old VHS and DVDs and the lot. Because I remember when all that stuff started coming out, everybody. At one time, I had my OCD would not allow me to pass up a VHS copy of Night of the Living Dead that I didn't have. So I think
you have to buy me copies of things on versions that I don't have.
Yeah.
Because of your OCD.
Yes.
Not because I have to have them, but because you need me to have them.
Well, that's why you have Wizard of Oz on VHS, DVD, and Blu-ray.
Yes, I know.
And I think you got it on 4K.
Yeah, I have the 20th anniversary the 50th anniversary.
I think you had a video that's in the 75th anniversary.
Yeah.
Because my OCD won't allow that.
Yeah.
And
because they have extra special features and
eventually you'll have.
It is interesting.
Eventually you'll have the SpectraVision cartridge. You'll have a beta and you'll have a Laserdisc.
I know.
And if everything goes right, you'll have an 8mm and a 16mm. Because that's how.
Now, if you can get me the ruby slippers.
Yeah, that's. Hey, I still love the fact we were talking about this. Josh Gates did Destination Truth, and then he, of course, he looked all over for Bigfoot and Loch Ness Monster and stuff like that, and he never found it. Then he went on to do the show Expedition Unknown. Then he looked for all this stuff, and he actually started finding stuff because they were looking for this, they were looking for that. But the one thing, it was the lost ruby slippers, and they had a whole episode where they were looking for it, and the whole story about how they were stolen, and it was an inside job, and it was all this shady shit going on about how these people got stolen, and then they found the ruby slippers, and it was oh fuck, they actually did something.
Yeah.
Big thumbs up to Josh Gates for actually pulling out. Hey, shit, that's awesome. I mean, anytime they find lost.
Well, the treasure hunts. They found stuff on the treasure hunts.
Oh, the the stuff that was missing and the I know they found
the clues. The guy that wrote the
secret.
book.
The secret. Yeah, they found the secret
because they found a bunch of the stuff for that.
Well, no, they found two since the show's been on, I believe, and they found one with him there, So
Well, I watched an episode because it was him and like the family that was looking
for
for
it,
it with
yeah.
the kids.
Yep.
And they were finding stuff,
Yep.
like the glass box and
Yeah,
all that,
they
which
found
was
they found
really
they had to
interesting.
dig through a pile of dirt to find the remnants of the key and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. I mean, that's
really interesting.
yeah. I mean, the worst part about it is that I remember that book coming out when I was a kid and thinking, oh, this
See,
is
I
kinda-
didn't know about it until I watched that episode. I didn't know anything about it.
I want to say
And then I had to go find out about it.
8th grade was when I found out about
So
it,
I
and it was
still would
even
have been in elementary school.
and it was even old back then. So it's one of them things that's kind of, I don't know, the fact that secret book safe.
No, that's like a Bible thing.
Yeah, I don't know. The
The laptop's there for you
Yeah.
to look at, but
yeah, I gotta pull my. I could probably do it on my phone faster, but no, I do like that, but no, like you were talking about, my OCD won't allow me to get. I mean, I have
well, you just collect. You have to.
Yeah,
have,
I collect.
You have to finish
and
collections.
yeah.
Of things, even if it's for me.
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm always on the lookout.
I collect comic books, and I don't even know what comic books I have collected because you collect them for me.
Any Wizard of Oz comic books I come across, I get for you. Any Alice in
Yes,
Wonderland
I know.
comic books I get for you.
Which I love that, and I appreciate that. But it's just funny to me that I collect comic books without collecting comic books.
Well,
Because I have all the Poison Ivy, which those I read.
Yeah.
The Labyrinth.
You get your Labyrinth. Matter of fact, that's in the New Order book. They got a new Labyrinth comic book coming out, which is Labyrinth the Masquerade, I believe. I gotta get a hold of
Which are really good.
Daniel Michelle.
Well, the ones that I read, I should say, are
Boom
really
Boom
good.
Comics is putting out some
I was
good
pretty
stuff.
happy with the storylines.
Yeah, I enjoyed them because I read them when I got them, and then because I got it was a good book series. I mean,
I might actually have more than a box.
yeah, you're probably getting close to it because I know there's like a half short box upstairs, and I think there's another short box at the shop.
Yeah,
and all that stuff.
because
And
I'd
plus-
always laugh about my collection and your collection, because my collection's this big and your collection is everywhere.
Yeah, well, the problem
And-
was a lot of your stuff got mixed in with mine
Yeah.
because I went and got a bunch of your stuff signed.
Yeah.
Like I got your Land of Oz signed by Scotty Young at a convention years ago. The other day I got you the Ozma of Oz book because anytime I find any Wizard of Oz stuff, I snag it.
Yeah.
I'm like,
I really like
There you
Wizard of
go,
Oz.
Wizard of Oz. 'Cause-
Childhood thing.
Yeah.
It's my Star Wars.
It's your Star Wars. See,
Well, that and Labyrinth.
yeah.
Those are my two.
And anytime I find
favorites, really.
any Labyrinth stuff, I jump on it too. Not a whole
That's
lot.
how I know you love me.
Yep. Mine is that I and it's funny because somebody asked me, they're like, "Do you have OCD?" I said, "Yeah, I collect comic books. Of course I do." So, and it's not, and I'm not a speculator, even though I will speculate and buy stuff because I'm like, that probably be worth something. It's a first appearance, whatever, and I buy that stuff. But I also get my weekly books and all that stuff like that.
I don't know. You are more to the point. When I met you, you had to collect everything. You are more selective now
Well,
about what you collect because it's more about what you like as opposed to just collecting it for the collectability.
Well, at one point, the thing was having my own store or working at a comic book shop or whatever. You get a massive discount on your books, or you get them at cost. And so I would buy them, and I would end up with like huge runs, or I'd be sitting there and I'd buy a lot of comics, or I'd buy somebody's collection, and there'd be a run of 50 books, and my brain would be like, hey, it's only 75 books altogether, you've got 50 of them, why don't you go ahead and finish that run off? And then I read it and I'm like, I don't even like this book, why do I care and why do I keep it? And
You've said that out loud a few times.
Oh, I know.
You've literally sat down and like with your weekly books and went, why am I still collecting this?
Oh yeah, yeah. I collected the Kiss comic book far longer than I really care to say, because I Walking Dead was another one. I collected Walking Dead.
I don't know. You can't really fault Walking Dead considering we opened the shop.
Oh
with
yeah,
it.
yeah. No, no. Don't get me wrong.
I mean,
I stopped. I kind of stopped reading it at about issue 100, and I collected it till like issue 150, or getting close to the end. Matter of fact, it was funny because I stopped collecting it, and then shortly thereafter it ended. So it's one of the things. I end up selling off almost everything, Walking Dead esque,
yeah.
and then
They burnt you out.
oh, it burned me out so bad. It was.
But I always liked you talking about like telling people that so and so died in the book because they never existed.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah. It's like, oh yeah, so is Daryl? I'm like, oh, Daryl's dead in the books. Daryl's dead in the books. I'm like, yeah, he doesn't fucking exist in the books. He's a completely made up for TV character. So, and it's funny because almost all the characters who were made for the comic were wiped out. But the ones that they were made up for the TV series is still chugging along. So, you know, it's one of them.
Oh.
Yeah, blah, 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 blah. I'm looking up some shit here. But
Trying to get the dog to settle down.
settle down. So, you know, it was funny because we were talking about this earlier. You know, get on other subjects. I was a huge GI Joe kid. Still am a GI Joe kid. Just I'm an adult now. I'm not as big as some people I know, but I still have a big collection of GI Joe toys and comics, and I even have some of the old VHS tapes. But I still got the DVDs. I don't have the Blu-rays yet, but
I loved G.I. Joe when
See-
I was like 9 because you had Scarlet and Lady J. And my best friend and I, when we were both 9, we would play G.I. Joe, and, you know, I'm a redhead, so I was always Scarlet and she was a brunette, so she was always Lady J, and it was great. I mean, that's probably one of the first, like, and not to sound cliche, but that was like the first really strong female, feminine characters that were, you know,
if you
badass and not just like, oh, sunshine and rainbows.
well, you know, okay, because we got from the first comic book, from the first episode of the GI Joe, first series of the GI Joe '82 toys, you had up front right there Scarlet. One of the main original run of characters, you had Scarlet.
Yeah, because she was awesome.
And then, you know, the second series you had Baroness and Lady J. You know, then you had, later on, you had Jinx and you had Zatanna.
Scarlet was awesome because she was a redhead that, like, didn't get crap. And, you know, of course, when I was a kid, being a redhead was you were a redheaded stepchild. And, you know,
Oh, yeah.
it was
yeah.
terrible.
But this is what I thought was cool. I mean, growing up, you know, super small town, you know, Alpequa, we, you know...
Yeah, it wasn't a big one.
Yeah, you were in Dayton and Hamilton and stuff like that. You know...
At 9, I was in Huber.
You watch G.I. Joe, and the team was super diverse.
Mm-hmm.
Super diverse. You know, and shit, you know, the main characters you had, you know...
G.I. Joe was very stereotypical, but stereotypical in a good way.
Yeah.
It's almost weird because it's stereotypes that wouldn't fly by today's standards, but it was stereotypes that worked because it was, oh, that character is so badass. That character is so awesome.
You could not get away with Spirit.
No, not
You
at
know,
all. because that's
that
appropriation in today's day and age.
But then you got the current
but back
spirit.
then, it was
cool.
awesome.
Oh yeah, the current incarnation of spirit's badass. That early incarnation, you're just like, the fact that he still talks like this.
Yeah.
And you're like, I was watching G.I. Joe the other day, and I'm like, ooh, that did not age well. Then you have Storm Shadow with his...
It was as well done could be for that year, though.
Oh,
for that point in time.
Well, I watched a lot of what was considered the girls' cartoons.
Gem and the Holograms.
You had Gem and the Holograms. You had
which was fantastic.
Jana of the Jungle, and you had Goldie Gold.
I still have not watched the Gem movie. I still have not brought myself to watch it because I'm so scared I'm gonna be extremely disappointed.
Oh, I haven't heard.
And I need to watch it. I do, because that was Gem was a huge deal when I was, of course, 9. I had my Gem dolls and I had my G.I. Joe dolls, and they dated. They totally dated. Okay.
Your little tiny G.I. Joe and your Gem.
No,
so
I had the big.
You had the 12-inch, the old school ones?
Yes, I had the big G.I. Joes, and I had my Gem dolls, and they dated. They were boyfriend and girlfriend. See, 100%.
I never.
Duke and Gem, they were an item.
No, I'm not gonna lie. I love the cartoon, and I still watch the cartoon. I got the DVD box set. And the best part about it is I went back and was rewatching some old episodes, and the most evil villain in any cartoon series from the 80s is probably Eric, the guy from freaking...
Oh, yeah.
Dude, he was trying to murder people and arson and kidnapping, and I'm like, he's just a record executive.
What was awful.
Fuck was this all about?
That was evil corporate evilness. I mean,
yeah. And it's funny because I'm like...
that was a warning for our generation.
Oh, yeah. Cobra Commander at least was he was a terrorist, and Megatron was a giant alien robot, and Skeletor. It's funny. Me and Joe always make fun of that with Skeletor.
Skeletor, you almost feel bad for him though.
But
just a little bit.
When he's sitting there talking to Hordak, and he's like, "I took King Randor's daughter." What? What the hell, man? I never abducted a child. Oh my god! But yeah, of all things, is legit. The Gem and the Holograms has the worst villain. He's a human guy who's
just evil.
Yeah, he's abducted people. He's arson and kidnapping and
it's real world.
Oh yeah,
bad.
And you're just like, I never paid attention to that when I was a kid. Now I can't unsee that.
Yeah.
You look at through adult glasses and look through child glasses, and you're like, oh god damn.
I don't know. I think there was a big difference between villains aimed towards boys and villains aimed towards girls too. I think there was a difference there.
What I think was funny was the first season of Gem and the Holograms was part of a block of cartoons that would go on, because it was Gem and the Holograms, Bigfoot and the Muscle Machines, and Robotics. Bigfoot and
I remember Robotics.
Robotics only had
I vaguely remember Bigfoot and the Muscle Machine.
Bigfoot and the Muscle Machine has one of the best theme songs ever. And it's legit. That's
probably the only thing I remember.
Bigfoot and the Muscle Machines. They're big, bad, dirty, and mean. There were 10-minute segments, 8 minutes. You would get Gem, then you get Robotics, and then you would get Bigfoot, and they were part of a block. And Robotics, you eventually got it condensed into a movie. The Bigfoot but Gem was the only one that got picked up out of that, and it went for 3 seasons. The first season was the the
See, you remember so much more detail
I
about that than I do.
I remember. See, that's what's both
I just remember liking it.
a gift and a curse. I remember watching cartoons that either you cannot find, like I remember legit watching like Turbo Teen.
I remember Turbo Teen.
And legit out of, I think 13.
See, I watched all the Saturday morning cartoons, and I watched cartoons up through my teenage years. I mean, obviously, because I watched Batman,
yeah.
the animated series, which is what stemmed my loving DC. I didn't even know I was a comic book fan at that point.
Yeah.
Because I had no idea, because I just watched Batman the animated series and really liked it, and
well, that's like when me and you started
didn't
dating.
know.
Because we met in the fall of 1993 because we're old.
October 13th.
Yeah.
Because JR
it just
wanted to go get a comic book.
Yep. Because you wandered into the comic book store. I was part owner
No,
of.
because he wouldn't let me stay in the car.
Wouldn't stay in the car.
I just wanted to stay in the car.
Here we go. Season 7, episode 12. Sorry, we'll get back to Season 7, episode 12 was when Josh Gates found the puzzle pieces on Expedition Unknown.
See?
Yep. And it premiered on October 30th, 2019, so last year.
Funny.
And if you're on Discovery Go, you need to watch that shit in 5 days because it's coming off there. Because it says right here.
It's a really good episode, though.
That's fun. But
really good episode. I stumbled into a comic book store and had no idea about anything.
The rest is history.
Yeah. In 1993.
And, yep.
I skipped school that day.
27 years ago.
Skipped school. I was supposed to be at school planning a Halloween event. And I decided not to go.
Our comic books were late that day. I was at my regular...
I had to come back 3 times.
Yeah.
Because he was looking for a comic book for his girlfriend at the time.
I can tell you what book that was.
And he kept dragging me back. And I didn't want to go. I legitimately did not want to go. I only came back the last time to talk to you.
Yep.
And then you went and talked to me.
I came off of a horrible relationship just before I met you.
Yeah, so did I.
So, but the dog is not happy with something over there. I think she bit herself in the ass.
I think she did too.
And then it's freaked the cat out because the cat's like, what the hell's going on?
Uh-huh.
So, alright. But, when you met me, we dated very briefly before we became full boyfriend, girlfriend.
Which was weird.
Yeah. And what
with no intentions whatsoever.
None. We both come off of horrible relationships. I thought, oh, you know what? We'll just go to the movies.
We're gonna go hang out.
We're gonna go hang out. We'll go see a band. We'll have fun.
I'll take you to Rebo's.
And then next thing you know, it's like, oh, I love you. I love you too. Do 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 do. Jump 4 kids and 27 years later. So
how many years?
27 years.
Really?
It's 2020, and we met in '93.
No way.
Yes. So
we're not that old.
Fucking old.
We're not that old.
I was sitting there, I was going through when we moved, I was going through a bunch of my old t-shirts. And I'm like, I've had this since high school. This is legit older than some people I know. Like a lot of
older
people.
than our kids.
Oh yeah, but I mean, like, it's older than some of my friends.
True.
But silly dog. But it's funny because like I said, we grew up really close, and there's a 2.5 year between me and you.
Mm-hmm.
And
I also went outside.
Yeah, because you had friends and you didn't.
No, my parents made me go outside.
I got up every Saturday morning and I watched me some Saturday morning cartoons. And when I came home from school,
Saturday morning cartoons, and then I went outside.
And Saturday morning cartoons ended, and then Shock Theater, or
No,
Kung
then
Fu,
I went outside.
and then
And I played because I was a child.
see, I was a child too. I would go down the street and I would play with my buddy David, and me and him would sit there and play GI Joe and Transformers and stuff like that.
I don't know. Rick has stories.
And then Rick, oh yeah, me and Rick. I'm surprised I still have all 5 fingers and
Yeah,
toes.
Rick has stories.
We blow some shit up when we were kids.
Because I didn't believe that you actually went outside of your house until I talked to
Yep.
Rick, and Rick has stories.
Oh yeah, but well, what was funny because when I was young though, I would haul ass home because I would run home, and then I'd watch all my Saturday morning, my afternoon cartoons, because I would watch G.I. Joe, Transformers, He-Man, all the weekly shows. Then I'd watch the ones in the morning, like I think like Robotech and like
See, I never watched that.
you name it. I loved.
I didn't know
cartoons.
anything about that until me and you met, and you would watch stuff.
Oh yeah.
Like,
Well, what was bad was when I was a kid, I was, a child of divorce, so I had the parents that bought stuff and I got a VCR relatively young. So I would record like every Saturday morning. I had VHS tapes full of Saturday morning cartoons and stuff, and afternoon cartoons and stuff, which has all been lost to time and mom's ex-boyfriends.
and moving. Which we're going to be done with soon.
We're done with, hopefully Sunday we are done. But no, when I was a kid, I played a lot by myself because I was an only child. I didn't really I lived close to some of my friends, but not like really close. I'd always have to like ride my bike,
Well, you lived in this area until you were, what, 14?
14.
And
Literally,
then you had to move out in the country.
yeah. When I lived out in the country, it sucked. I was away from everybody, and
I moved around a lot as a kid, but I will say my parents always tried to make sure that we lived in a neighborhood that always had kids.
Legit, it was either 7 miles to Sydney or 7 miles to Piqua. And when you're 14 and all you have is a bicycle, that shit's far. I'd ride my bike into Piqua in the summertime. Either that or my mom would drop me off at my grandma and grandpa's, and I'd have a bike stored there. And I would crash. I would get up. I would usually go right back to sleep and then get up and then go do my thing.
See, at 14, I was a totally different person, though.
Oh, at 14,
At 14, I was going to Rebos.
At 14, I had
Watching my friends' bands play.
probably almost a full-time job.
Which, if Gigi ever listens to this, he was one of the bands. In one of the bands that I went to Rebos
Well-
and watched at 14, 15 years old.
Well, what's that was another thing. 'Cause being out in the country, that's when I started collecting VHS tapes. Literally, if you were lucky, you got channel 2, 7, channel 9 sometimes. That was if the weather was good and everything else. Channel 12, 14, 16, which was your PBS channels. Channel 19, 22, 26, 45, and then occasionally you would get, I think, like 43 and like 48.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Those were
Because at that age, I was not watching TV much at all.
Those were over the air antenna channels.
I listened to the radio.
And I lived out in the middle of nowhere. We got shitty reception out there too.
Yeah, I listened to the radio. I was about music. Music was everything to me.
When video stores first started selling off VHS tapes and I had a job, I was like, that's the first one of the first. I was like, ooh, cool. I went and bought Star Wars, Return of the Jedi, and Empire Strikes Back on VHS tape. I was wondering.
But I did drag my friends to see, I had no idea until I got older that G.I. Joe was a thing, that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was a thing, that Batman was the thing, and I would drag my friends with me to go watch all that stuff. So there was something, I don't know. I was this weird person that wasn't. I didn't know there was this following. I didn't know there was this thing. I didn't know. I had no idea. I just liked the stuff.
Yeah. See,
I can't move.
you can't move, bud. What are you doing?
Guys, I'm stuck.
You're not stuck. But I got an arm. Hold on. Keep going. You gotta go check on the kid here.
Check on the kid.
You got your arm stuck in there, bud?
Hang on.
I think he just wants attention
Get your arm out of there. There we go.
for a minute. He's
Nothing.
okay.
Yes. Nothing like the.
You saved him.
I saved him. I saved his arm from the couch
Did he save you, Vince?
because the armrest flipped down where you put
Yeah?
your drinks,
Okay.
and he's got his arm in there.
Yep.
All right. But, you know, it's funny because you were talking about being alone and stuff like that. I played a lot, and it was hilarious because I was telling Joe this a while back. I would take, and I had back when people would record VHS tapes onto other VHS tapes, and, you know, pirating back in the day, I had a VHS tape that had...
When you had to record whatever that was on TV.
Oh, no. This is when you would take and you had friends who had 2 VCRs.
Oh,
And you would record, you know.
I getcha.
And all you had to do is put that little piece of tape across the thing so it would get
You have to be older than 40 to understand what he's talking about.
So we would put like 3 movies on a VHS tape because they ran in 6-hour mode, and I had a tape and it had.
Some of them were 8 hours,
Yeah, well, it was,
but the quality wasn't as
Yeah.
good.
I had a tape that had Star Wars, Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, and I would legit put that in my VCR, and I would play G.I. Joe or Star Wars or He-Man, or I'd just fucking just play with my action figures, and I would let that 6-hour loop run, and it would stop and rewind and then start back over, and I would legit watch the original trilogy 5, 6, 7 times a week. Yeah. You know, I always joke around because people are like, well, how many times have you seen Star Wars? I was like, I don't know, hundreds of times. And I'm like, I don't know. They legit have no...
I have not seen Star Wars that many times. Nowhere close.
Oh, I've seen Star Wars so many times, it's burnt into my brain. That's like people asking, what's your favorite movie? Legit, my favorite movie of all time is Empire Strikes Back. But I don't even count Star Wars.
I can't answer that question.
I can't... No,
I don't know.
Those have gone beyond.
I have more than one.
But then it depends on what day you ask me on what my favorite movie is. It's like one day it'll be fucking Hellraiser 2, and...
Well, you kind of have what's your favorite horror movie? What's your favorite sci-fi movie? What's your favorite action movie? What's your favorite... You have a favorite for each.
Oh, yeah, then you get the subgenre, like, what's your favorite Schwarzenegger movie? What's your favorite Barbarian movie? What's your favorite, you know?
Yeah.
Even that gets real hard.
I just have weird favorites because, you know, the normal favorites, like Wizard of Oz. I mean, I was a girl, it had to happen. Labyrinth, because that's the age I am. And then my weird favorites, which aren't weird to you, but I guess could be weird to me, which is like when I made everybody go see Batman with me and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and all that, because I loved that stuff and had no idea why. Evidently, it was leading to
Is
being
leading
married
to
you.
this.
I don't know.
Well,
It's weird.
so
But then, like, I don't know. Everybody always expected me to be into, like, the fantasy stuff, like Lord of the Rings and things like that, and I've never gotten into that.
I love Lord of the Rings and stuff like that, but I'm not one of the people who I've read The Hobbit, I don't know, 4 or 5 times.
Way too descriptive.
Lord of the Rings, the series, I've read that maybe a couple times. I know I read it in like, I think I read it like in 6th grade, and I think I read it again in high school, and I think I've read it like 3 times, because I read it when I worked at the hotel too. And then the other books, like, his other works and stuff like that, I probably only read those once each. When it came down to reading, I was a hardcore Stephen King nut when I was like from 6th grade to maybe 20. I consumed Stephen King.
I read a lot of Stephen King, probably around those same ages.
And
which 6th grade, super inappropriate.
oh yeah, totally. Because I was reading.
But my mom would read a book, and then she would let me read it, and I don't know, it wasn't as big of a deal. Like, people, our generation, we weren't censored like now. Like, we weren't censored like we censor our kids. No. We censor our kids way more than we were ever censored.
Shit. I went and seen RoboCop in the theater when I was...
It was no big deal.
No.
I went Jason movies and Freddy movies and all that. Like, that was no big deal. And it was almost because our 10-year-old is really into Jason and Freddy and, Halloween and those horror movies. And it was kind of like, oh, should we be letting him watch those? And then it was, okay, well, they're really not that bad. There's not a lot of, Halloween, the first one, there's not a lot of gore in that.
No, the original Halloween is almost completely bloodless.
Yeah, but especially with him being on the spectrum, like, I was concerned about that. And I was like, okay, we kind of joke around and say, okay, monsters are fake, it's pretend, it's whatever. But then I'm like, why am I worried about it? I watched all of this stuff when I was younger than him.
Well,
and thought it was funny,
I remember when I was a little kid, being scared of stuff because...
I was terrified of the wall, though.
Oh, the wall's fucking horrifying. Well,
thanks, Dad.
I was always like, I was afraid because I went and seen Jaws as a kid, and then, mind you, this is not when it came out because that was 75. I was 1. But when a re-release came out, I saw it when I was like, I don't know, 4 or 5. I was really young. And then we went to Florida and went to the ocean.
Oh yeah, that's terrible.
And I was like, oh, well, I lived, and I tell people this story all the time, is, nowadays it's one of my favorite horror movies because is The Town That Dreaded Sundown. Mm-hmm. My mom and dad fucked with me when we drove through Texarkana.
With you.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna be right back.
So, I grew up in this whole, mess with you, telling you all this stuff's gonna come get you, everything to kind of get you to be a good kid. And then when I hit a certain age, I was like, I love horror movies. I gotta watch as much horror as possible. I gotta get everything I can. As you can see here, there is walls of DVDs. That's, I don't know. That's probably a tenth of what I actually own on DVD. And some of it's, I'm sure there's other stuff in there besides horror. I can see some comedies and some action, but shit, that's mostly horror. That's what's awesome about being a hardcore physical media guy. I gotta have my horror movies, and I gotta have an actual copy of them, because if not, what's gonna happen? And then I'm slowly getting whatever was on DVD, and now it's on Blu-ray. I try to get those because now everything's going to Blu-ray, everything's going to 4K, now everything's going digital. I don't want to be the guy who doesn't have something when it's finally released. Although there are some movies that when I picked them up, I bought them because I remember them being better. Unfortunately, rose-colored glasses. I'm a fan of the Extro movies. And 1 and 2 are hard to get. Found 3, and I'm like, oh my god, it's so bad. But
What movie are you talking about?
Extra.
I have no idea.
Extra 1 was around the same time as E.T. It was the dad was abducted. He.
Nope.
Oh, shit. We'll have to find Extra 1 and 2. I got 3 over there.
There's 3 of them. I've
yeah,
never heard of the first one.
they're alien movies that have nothing to do with each other. But other than the fact they're called Extro. XTRO.
See, I don't know if I remember watching E.T. when it came out, like when I was little. What year did it come out?
What, 82?
I mean, I went and seen everything at the drive-in
Well, yeah.
before I was like 12. Really didn't see much in the theater.
See, I lived at the movie theater.
We went to the drive-in every summer. So if it was out in the drive-in, I went and seen it in the drive-in, which is why The Wall freaked me out really bad. But my parents, old school.
Yeah, 82.
Okay. Parents, old school, would have me and my brother hide in the back seat so they didn't have to pay for us to be there. And, way back in the day, didn't have to pay for us to be there. And they would go see whatever movie. They didn't care. And we would sit there and watch it. And a lot of stuff would freak me out because I was like 5, 6, 7 years old.
See, I went and seen a lot of stuff at the drive-in with my parents. And then I remember when my grandpa would take me in the mornings or Saturday afternoons or whatever. And so I saw a lot of action movies. Saw lots of action movies.
Yeah,
with my
your
grandpa
grandpa took you and seen like Conan and
because
stuff like that.
because I was reading Conan comic books when I was a kid, and I started reading the books.
See, I had a mom that loved horror movies. My mom has loved horror movies, still does, always has. And my dad, who liked westerns. And as he got older, he liked Lifetime movies. But no, when I was growing up, he liked westerns and he liked car movies, anything that had to do with car.
Dude.
So if it was a horror car movie, they would both actually watch it, The Car.
The Car,
Christine.
yeah.
Christine really freaked me out when I was a kid, though.
What? This is what's funny. Somebody asked me the other day, and they're like, "What's your favorite John Carpenter movie?" And I went, "It's shit." 'Cause part of me goes, "Well, it's The Thing," and then I'm like, "Yeah," but then there's Prince of Darkness, and then there's Escape from New York, and
Prince
then there's
of Darkness. I
and
love that movie.
I think Prince of Darkness is maybe his most underrated movie.
It really
and
is.
I freaking love that movie. That movie is shot
See,
well.
when I was a
it's
teenager,
acted
though,
well.
my mom would literally go to the video store and rent every single movie. Every movie.
Oh yeah.
And we watched... She would rent at least like 3 or 4 movies on the weekend, and we would watch all of them.
Well,
So, at Marsh and Troy, she literally rented every single
I remember her
VHS that was
getting
there.
the new stuff, and
then when she started going to, what was the one that was over
Dave's Video or First Choice.
First Choice Video?
Well,
Yes.
One of the best things was
Went
when
through all of them there.
shortly after me and you got together, and you found out that I had a massive movie.
She discovered that you had a massive movie collection, and she was like the most excited person.
She would watch. She would like, "Can you bring me some movies?"
And
Here
she
you
didn't
go.
care if it was a horror-based movie, especially, because that's always been her favorite.
My favorite quote from your mom was like, "I like that heavy metal movie. It's cute."
It was cute.
Heavy Metal, the movie, the cartoon.
My mother
It
thinks
was
that movie is
cute.
cute. Cute. Yep.
And Heavy Metal was awesome.
It is an awesome
It's
movie.
a great movie. Great
But
soundtrack.
yes, my mother, she thought it was cute.
What? Well, you talk about that. I grew up in a time when, most video stores had a horror section or a sci-fi section or, an action section. And I remember being a kid and going into the horror section and just slowly working my way through all the movies. And the video store lady didn't give two shits that I was 13 renting.
Well, I was allowed to rent whatever I wanted because of my mom.
Yeah.
Like, I just went in and rented whatever because
Well,
she didn't care.
oh man.
My parents didn't censor anything.
See,
My parents would be like, oh, look, there's a sex scene. Cover your eyes for a second. Okay. That was censorship in my house.
well, what's funny is that, you know, I did spend a lot of time by myself as a kid. And my mom worked late nights when, you know, when...
No, my parents were around.
No. You know, if I wasn't with my grandma or grandpa, I was staying with my friends, I was staying with Rick's family, or I stayed at home, and that's when I discovered HBO and Cinemax and stuff like that, and I started watching just everything. I consume, and I still do, and I still consume movies, and the worst part about it is I know people, I used to think I was unique as a kid. And because everybody like, have you seen this movie? Yeah. Have you seen this movie?
I've seen like every movie.
Yeah. Have you seen this movie? Yeah, I own it. That's like, was it the 50 movies you must see before you die? The 50 horror movies you must see before you die, or whatever. And I'm like, okay, I've seen all of them, and I own 48 of them. You know, it's like that. But no, I as a kid. And still to this day, I consume the media of cinema. I love it. I mean, comic books are my number one thing. I've loved comic books my entire life. I'm an avid reader, but I love movies. You know, and there's movies, and I think that you can. What was the term? What, you shine a turd? Can't shine a turd, or whatever. There are movies that are super high budget, super. You know, everybody's like, "Oh, this is one of the best movies ever," and I look at it and go, But I will sit down and I will watch movies that has heart and put into it, because you know these people have no
you look
fucking
at it
budget
for the story, not just the cinematics, not just what.
I look at it in the story. I
the
also
bells
look.
And whistles.
I look at it at what those people went through to put that movie out. Mm-hmm. You know, that's like, okay, the New Mutants. We went and seen New Mutants. Everybody's giving that movie so much.
Going and seeing a movie in the theater right now is amazing.
Because literally,
absolutely,
it's like you by
amazing,
yourself.
Because quarantine sucks.
Yep. And
it really does.
This is what's killing. One thing that's killing me right now is right before quarantine hit, the weekend when it hit Monday.
Our anniversary.
Yes, we went and seen The Hunt on Sunday. Mm-hmm. And didn't we see a movie on Thursday too?
I don't know. I don't remember. I just remember that weekend. I remember walking out of the theater and getting a text from my mom saying everything's shutting down.
Because we were on our way to Kroger. Mm-hmm. And it's funny because we left the movies, we went and seen The Hunt, and then the first thing we do when everything's kind of went back to normal-ish was we went to the movies. We went and seen New Mutants. Mm-hmm. And New Mutants, those people...
we've seen...
New Mutants and Tenet.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's really the only thing. It's
go see a movie. It will make you feel better.
Go see Tenet. Go see fucking New Mutants.
It will make you feel better. It will legitimately, with everything going on in the United States right now, just go see a movie.
I kick myself in the
You can wear
air.
a mask. You can sit in the theater. You can wear a mask. You can sit by yourself. They have all the seats around you where nobody can sit in. Just go see a movie, get some popcorn, and enjoy yourself. I think that's what people are missing right now. Is they're not finding things to enjoy in life. And that's why people are so hateful and terrible, and it's ridiculous. Just go see a movie, do something to have fun and enjoy yourself.
When we went, it was like, oh, because I'm back in the theater. You know?
Okay, I got so tired of date night with a dinner and a movie. I got so tired of that. Being married, we've been together for a long time, and it was like, okay, that's all we ever do. Getting to go and see a movie, like, after, through all this quarantine stuff, I will never take that for granted again, because when you can't do it at all, it sucks.
You know, that's like, when I
have a new appreciation for dinner and movie date night, okay?
Well, there for a while, I was working so many hours, we couldn't
Just
go
wait till we can go to a concert.
Oh, it's going to fucking kill us.
Like, the first concert we get to go to is going to be just blowing our mind.
Yeah,
I don't care who it is. I don't care if it's somebody we're whatever about. It's going to be amazing.
It's going to be clutch.
We could go see Highly Suspect or Clutch.
Yes.
Those would be amazing shows to go see. Because, come on, you got to admit, I know Highly Suspect was not, you were not looking forward to that band that I love. But
they
you got
were
to
impressive.
admit.
I admit,
yes.
The fact that them guys played like 2.5 hours straight.
And were amazing and talented.
Oh, yeah.
Come on.
But
one of my favorite bands.
Literally, that was what? 3 weeks before quarantine?
That was Valentine's weekend. Our anniversary is March 12th. That weekend, everything went insane.
And if we wouldn't have done that, the last band we would have seen was Clutch. And not that would have been a bad band. That would have been one of the best bands you could, like...
Well, I'm fairly happy that the last band I seen was Highly Suspect, because that's like...
Well, that's like me and Joe were talking about what we were supposed to see this year, because I was going to take him to see Clutch. And we were going to see... Well,
I had finally gotten to the point where it was like, if there's a band playing and I want to go see them, I'm going to go see them. I'm not going to make an excuse. I'm not going to put it off. I'm just going to go see them.
We've even made this thing because we'd always make sure that if I couldn't go, you couldn't go.
Yeah.
Or if you couldn't go, I couldn't go. And to the point now we're just like, okay, I can't go. I'm too busy. I've got too much shit going on. I got something big going on at the shop.
Well, for me, it was seeing Steven Tyler.
Yeah.
It was like, why am I doing this to myself? And then when you were like, just go.
I just gave you the money and said, go.
And I did, and it was like, okay, this is amazing, and I should not make myself miss out.
You know, and then you got to see Heart, and you got to see Rob Zombie and Marilyn Manson.
Mm-hmm.
But I went and seen Whitechapel, and I got to see Clutch without you.
But we seen Clutch together.
We seen a lot of bands together, but we also got to the point where, okay, yeah, I can't go.
There's certain bands that we can't go without each other. Like, In This Moment.
Yeah, I will always take you to see In This Moment. Like, this summer we had planned, I was going to take Joe to go see Megadeth. Originally it was going to be Ozzy's farewell tour.
Joe and I have decided that if Joan Jett comes back around, we will go see her, because he had such a good experience seeing Joan Jett, because he got to meet her, and I was way more excited about my kid. And this was, mind you, 8 years ago, because it was Vince's second birthday.
Yep. 8
years ago. So I was way more excited about Joe talking to Joan Jett, and she was amazing. She was absolutely amazing. She stopped and talked to my kid. I almost cried right there.
Well,
but even he said, like, he would go see her again just because of that experience.
Well, what's fun was having Joe, you know, because legit, we went, I took him to go see Slayer on their farewell tour. And it was...
Yeah, I stepped back so that Joe could go.
It was Testament, Behemoth, Anthrax, Lamb of God, and Slayer.
Because that's how much I love my son.
And... Yeah, it's like the 5th time I've seen Slayer, and it would have been the 2nd time I'd seen Anthrax.
Slayer was my prom.
Yep. My prom was Pantera and Skid Row, so...
I was there. That was before we met.
Before we met, we should have met several times before we actually met. And it's funny because people look at me and they're like...
Pantera and Skid Row. I met Vinnie Paul and didn't know it until after the fact.
At the now demolished Hair Arena.
That hurts my heart.
Oh, I know. And the worst part about it's been sitting there destroyed for over a year.
I know.
And part of me was like, they'll rebuild it. They're just going to rebuild it. And now it's getting razed to the ground. And part of me goes, maybe we'll get a new arena. Maybe they'll just rebuild from the ashes, and we can have a hair arena again. And
Hair Arena
is
so much of my childhood
for fucking concerts.
So much of my teenage years.
I saw 3 concerts in 5 days there.
No, I seen Kiss. And Kiss, okay, you want to give Kiss crap because Gene Simmons is an asshole. Everybody knows it. Whatever. But they literally talked about Dayton Hair Arena in their interviews and like magazines, whatever, because it was one of their favorite places aside from Detroit. It was one of their favorite places to play. And that was my first concert. Last day of school of 7th grade. Wendy and I went and seen Kiss. It couldn't have been more perfect.
The first concert I saw there was Ozzy on his No More Tours tour in 1992.
I was supposed to be there.
And the far reaching year of 1992, when Ozzy Osbourne retired for the first time.
I was supposed to be there.
And Prong opened up, and oh my God, I love Prong. I still love Prong. Prong's one of my favorite. I don't even. They're not thrash.
They were cool dudes.
But, dude, meeting dude from Prong was killer. Sitting there talking to him at Power Man 5000.
Not even officially, just kind of hanging out.
Yeah, just hanging out, and bullshitting with him at the bar. I was like, oh fuck. But I've seen so many bands play at Hair Arena. I've met so many bands at Hair Arena. I've seen Pantera, Rob Zombie, Megadeth, Slayer,
Well,
Danzig,
Hair was such a...
Well,
I mean, it was a
was
famous
the
place
yeah, it was
for
the place.
bands to come through.
Yeah. Because I remember when we saw Rob Zombie playing at
the Rose, he talked
about Hair Arena. He's like, oh man, anybody remember seeing it? Everybody's like, fuck yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That was probably the best part of that show when he played Thunderkiss 65.
And made sure everybody turned all their shit off.
Yeah,
Because
you had to turn off your cell phones. You had to turn everything off and just enjoy the music. And it was amazing.
Well,
and then he jumped down and ran around and...
Yeah, high-fived everybody and high-fived us and Ed because we were just apart from each other.
Mm-hmm.
What's Hair Arena was such a cool place. Yeah, it was run down. Yeah.
It was terrible.
It was terrible.
But it was wonderful at the same time.
It was terribly awesome.
Yeah.
The fact
I remember was it at Skid Row Pantera where the guy got in the porta potty got knocked over?
No, that was Megadeth.
No. This was one that I was at before I met you.
Okay.
It may have been Poison.
Dude, then it was Megadeth too, because I remember the dude getting in the porta potty and people were like, "Come on, man!"
Well,
he was outside.
This guy was being a dick. Like outside,
and flipped the fucking porta potty on the dude.
Outside, he was being a dick. I can ask Wendy because she would probably remember. But he was being horrible. This was before I met you. He got knocked over in the porta potty on the door. So somebody eventually, they had to roll it over so he could get out. And then he went to the pub after the fact. He did not leave. He did not go home. He went to the pub.
And for those who don't know, the pub was a little bar inside Hair Arena.
Yes. He went to the pub and hung out after getting knocked over in the porta potty. I swear it was Skid Row Pantera.
Let's put it this way. Some of the worst fights I've ever been in were at Hair Arena. I
did get into a fight.
I had security pull me out because they thought I was bleeding. And I had blood all over my forehead. And it was because I bashed some dude in the fucking bridge of the nose. because he was gonna. Dude, he was like a foot taller than me, and I wasn't gonna give him a chance.
Yeah,
So
I had some
headbutted
girl
him.
turn around and grab me by the hair, and I hit her and flipped around behind me, and then the security was like, you handled yourself okay, so he didn't feel he needed to intervene.
Nope. What you need, Vince?
Cake.
There's no cake. So, oh my god, that's a sad moment. We need to put our heads down and a moment of silence for Harry. And the worst part about it is I was there. I was there on the very last day Hair Arena was open. We did a Jim and Dan show.
Yeah.
And I just had somebody message me here. I go live. You want to tell them? Oh man. Okay, get ready for bed. I've talked to him later, but yeah, we went, and it was funny because people were like trying to and they had security was like on the fucking ball. You couldn't sneak around. I tried to sneak around in there, and it was like, boom, where are you going? I'm like, I just need to run to the restroom. I need to.
Well, Hera had tunnels.
Yeah, it's because you could bring people up through.
Yeah, they had, because that was actually going back to Kiss. They knew the layout, and they would screw with bands.
Yep.
That opened for them because they knew how to get through, because they'd played there so many times. They knew how to get through, and they would always mess with the openers because of the basically how you would get through Hera.
Oh yeah, but there's all the back ways and the back hallways and stuff like that. But yeah, I was there the last day, and I didn't get nothing. I was gonna try to get something, some souvenir, and nope. Security was like, "What you doing?" And I'm like, nothing. Just looking for a cart. But Hair Arena is now long gone.
It is gone forever.
And it's sad,
that is
sad day.
a part of my youth.
That's a huge part of my freaking adulthood.
I went to so many concerts, events.
Carl Casper's Custom Auto Show.
Yes.
Lots of Carl Casper.
Yes. Concerts there because all the old school bands.
Yeah, I seen
play.
I seen Survivor.
Yeah, Survivor.
Yeah, the Carl
Totally.
What was
and then the roller derby.
Roller derby.
That was so much fun.
All the flea markets and record shows and toy shows
yes.
and comic book shows we did there. All the we did the big garage sale there, and oh my god, I remember being there like twice a month for the longest time, and relatively recently since we've had to shop.
Yeah.
And there was always something going on there. And then they were like, oh, nope, we're closing it up, closing the doors, no more.
So sad.
Yep. So, I think we're going to wrap this one up tonight. We're getting close to the end. But as I forgot to say at the beginning of the episode, because it throws me off not having Brandon here. All right, here goes my spiel. Grip Therapy Podcast is brought to you by RU Game. RU Game, the best comic book, video game, magic store, toy store in all
of Piqua.
Boom. We are still on YouTube, Podbean, Google Podcast. Google Podcast will direct you to our Podbean, so you can go on there and you can see or listen to our podcast now.
Apple
Podcast, we're up on there. We got our Patreon. If you want to donate, that would be awesome because we're
gonna start working on the exclusive.
We're gonna have exclusive content for our Patreon soon. We are going to not next episode, probably the episode after that. We will start having guests. We're currently booking guests. I will announce them when it's 100% locked in the basement.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can consider this a basement because it's not a cellar dwelling.
There's windows. So
There's windows to the outside. There's a door to the outside.
I mean, the windows are high up on the wall, but
yeah,
there's still windows.
And we have a bar.
Yeah.
We actually have a bar.
My bar.
Yeah, I just got my shit. So
This is supposed to be my corner.
your corner here, my corner goes that way.
My corner and your whole rest of the room.
Yeah, but you got a bar
Yeah.
and a corner. I have a wall and a corner. So
You have a little bit more space than I have.
And
I don't want to hear it.
I have a
you have
big
a giant TV
I have
too,
a big ass TV and the couch.
that we sit like 4 feet away from.
And it's the best thing ever. and oh man, if you do not realize how much better TV is on a 4K TV, and I did not think it was going to be this much better.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I was watching My Name Is Earl.
Happy birthday.
Yes, it took my
And
TV.
Father's Day.
It took my old TV finally giving up the ghost to.
A little bit.
I was watching My Name Is Earl. Randy had a blown out blood vessel in his eye I had never seen before. Watching
You
that,
couldn't look away.
you cannot unsee it. It's right there the entire time. And it's like, oh, is that there the entire time? Yes, it's there through the entire episode. A blown blood vessel in the eye. So, I can't
4K.
unsee it. 4K.
Yep. That's a nice TV.
But we will when I get things nailed down. I will be announcing guests on our Facebook page, and check us out on Facebook. You can contact us at grouptherapytv1 at gmail.com, or you can get a hold of us at areugame 2011 at gmail.com. That's the name of the store. RU Game. You can leave us in the comments, like, subscribe, do all that fun. Hit the bell notification. Just, we got a lot of people who say they listen to us, and we're getting a lot of views and stuff like that. Let us know.
Send some comments or ask some questions.
Yes.
That would be great or some ideas, content.
Yes. We're always on the...
What do you want us to talk about?
I'm going to start reviewing. I got some stuff coming in. I'm going to do some more reviews. I'm going to do some more comic reviews. I'm probably going to do next week. I might do a big comic review because I'm going to have like 3 weeks worth of books to review, which will probably be a stack that freaking high by then.
I won't be here.
And she won't be here. Brandon will probably be back next week. So this is Paul.
I'm Tina.
And as Brandon says, we're not licensed therapists.
Not at all. I do work in the medical field.
I don't. I sell comic books and shit to people for a living.
I can give you a flu shot.
I can tell you to go to the doctor, go to get your flu shot, because I don't want your greasy ass, runny nose coughing in my shop.
Wear a flippin' mask when you go to the doctor's office and quit treating the people like they don't count.
But,
okay.
All right, we're out of here. This is Paul and Tina. Good night.